We in Los Angeles, California, on the west side, on a street called Gramercy, between 18th and Venice Boulevard. I'm an original founding member of this Gramercy Street thing, and I wanted to kind of give you the history. My name was, back then, they called me Inch High. Then I became Bad Boy, and then I became Smokey G. And it's been a lot of narratives about Gramercy Street Hustlers by people who hadn't the slightest clue of the origins. And so, you know, my thing is to clear up the false narratives, you know, because I respected journalism and a few things that was said by, I believe the dude name was Shannon. Shannon is a young dude, like he's came around in the 90s or something, you know what I'm saying, maybe late 80s or something, like when I was in prison, like I told you, right? So some of the things he said, it was like, I'm like, where'd he get that from? You know what I mean? Like, and then I had spoke to Skip about giving him the history, and then Skip turned around and made a video about some stuff that was totally off point. So my whole purpose for doing this is to clear up the history, because I moved over here in 1975, and when I moved over here, football was kind of like the thing that we was into as kids, right? And so a group of kids on this block started playing football, and every street had a football team. So you had this street, Gramercy, to the west, you have Wilton, and then you have Cimarron. Each one of them, even Van Ness had a team. Then to the east, you got St. Andrews, and then you have Manhattan. Each of these streets had football teams, and so we just had the best team. And you know, we pretty much dominated in football. And as we became older, you know, some of those football rivalries became, you know, brawls and street fights, and you know, jealousies and things started occurring. And so, you know, a lot of brawling back then. It was mostly fist fights, right? The Gramercy football team was called GGS. Okay, GGS goes back to like I said, 1979, 80. That was the name of our football team. We weren't gangbangers, but for some reason our football team was called Gramercy Gangsters. and the Wilton team was called the Wilton Warrior Gang, and or the Wilton Warrior Gangsters, or Wilton Warrior Gang. Then you had the Cimarron Boys, you had Van Ness Boys, you had the Drew Boys, and you had the Manhattan Mob, right? So the Manhattan Mob is the street that really became our rivals. It's unfortunate when I think back, because we was all kids and we was all friends. We all went to 24th Street Elementary School, and you know, we was competitive, you know, and Gramercy became known for parties. You know, we had a lot of house parties, so we had a lot of girls who would come from a lot of different neighborhoods. You know, we went all around. This is when we was catching the RTD. You know, we was going to Hollywood, we was going to Venice, we was going to anywhere we wanted to go. We was going pretty much at that time. And so, you know, like I said, those rivalries as young men, as you know, become young adults, you know, things start getting a little more risque.
Okay, so the Manhattan Mob, they really only had one street, because Manhattan doesn't go through.
Exactly.
It's only from 18th to Washington, right?
Exactly.
So everybody from Manhattan Mob had to stay on that block,
had to be on that block. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's a couple of cats that was start claiming Manhattan that actually lived on St. Andrews, right? You can just hop the fence and be on Manhattan, you know what I'm saying? Or walk around. So like I was telling you before, when I moved over here, they had the older clique in this area was called the Drew Boys, right? Now the Drew Boys happen to be a bunch of Crips. And this is like, a lot of people take exception, and now a lot of people don't even know this history, but those was our young mentors. When we was 8, 9, 10, and 11 years old, them dudes was 15 and 16 years old, and they was already gang banging. You see what I'm saying? And so this is a blood neighborhood, but we had a pocket of these Crips over here, and we never gang banged, but they had an influence on us. And so we growing up with these other dudes who are gangbang or have brothers who are gangbangers in their bloods, right? And so we decided early on that we couldn't do either one because we kind of like in the middle. We wanted to be neutral. And so basically the team GGS ends up connecting with another team called RMS, the Raymond Midgets. The Raymond Midgets were down the hill, Normandy and Adams, okay? That crew is Koolboy, he's the baby. Rocky, Easy-E, who's a boy named Ernest. He got a brother named Mike, right? You got Little Mike, Carlos, Berg. It was about 9 or 10 of them, right? And they was rugged. We played football. So when GGS and RMS connected, we called ourselves WCG, Wrecking Crew Gang, right? Or Wrecking Crew Gangsters. We still wasn't gangbanging. Imagine that. That's the name of our football team, right? And so we played all the gangs. We played the 20s. We played the 30s. You see what I'm saying? We played dudes on 65th. We played a clique called Alley Boys. We played a clique called Bad Company. We played the Cimarron. Anybody who wanted to play football, we played football. So basically, that's what Gramercy was known for. Now, that's like 82 coming into 83. And I believe it was 83 when Money Marv gave us the name Gramercy Street Hustlers. So from 83 on, it was Gramercy Street Hustlers, and Gramercy Street Hustlers was never Crips or Bloods. Ain't no Blood started Gramercy Street Hustlers, and ain't no Crips started Gramercy Street Hustlers. We was young dudes that were separating ourselves from that originally, right? Now, because of the larger dynamics in the community, you know, we right here between the Rollin 20s and the BlackStones. I can imagine they felt some type of way seeing these little dudes hanging out on this block and they claiming something else. So some pressure came with that. You understand what I'm saying? And because this was never a gang, you know, a lot of people caved in. There's a lot of people cave in. I'm gonna keep it 100. But there's a core group of brothers that always pushed back and said, no, we ain't gonna be Bloods, right? People talk about Koolboy and Rocky. Like I said, Koolboy and Rocky was from Raymond Midgets. Raymond Midgets became WCG with us and became Gramercy Street Hustlers. Koolboy was a Gramercy Street Hustler and so was Rocky. You see what I'm saying? All them dudes came off of Gramercy. But the narrative that the Gramercy Street Hustlers turned 20s or the Gramercy Street Hustlers turned BlackStone is totally, you know, some made up fabrications. And that's basically what I wanted to clear the record of, because I got little cats that's still in the streets today, and they have relationships today that they done forged because they still survive it. I'm 56 years old. I don't have an interest. I don't have a dog in the fight, right? But at the same time, when I was walking these streets, right, I had to fight these dudes so that we can be who we was. And ain't nobody gonna take that from us, you know what I'm saying? And that's just basically the bottom line. So, you know, a lot of people couldn't be here, you know what I'm saying, to represent the story. So I took it on myself that I want to put that out there to correct the narrative, because, like I said, in my own personal journey in life, it cost me issues because, you know, I have relationships with other people, and other people would hear stories, you see what I'm saying, that was untrue, right? And so, you know how street politics is. And basically, I don't want to make a big hula-dee out of it, but just clear the narrative that the Gramercy Street Hustlers was only Gramercy Street Hustlers, and they were never a gang. Right? It was never a gang. We never organized to become a gang, right? Like I said, we was a football team, you know what I mean? And you know, we in LA. And the larger dynamics, you know what I'm saying, created conditions that we just didn't want no part of. You know what I'm saying? We didn't want to, you know, not be able to go over here because we're this, or not go over there because we're that. And the street became popular, man. I mean, you know, you had people from all kind of places around, you know, the greater Los Angeles area. They used to come on this street just because they felt comfortable. You see what I'm saying? People could let their guards down. In my opinion, a lot of the Bloods used to come over here because ain't nobody coming over here looking for you. You know what I'm saying? Your street, 21st Street, ain't nobody coming down here looking for you, right? That's where they hung out at, on 21st. So when we start hanging out on the street, didn't nobody sell no drugs on the street. You see what I'm saying? This was our street, right? And so, you know, that being what it is, you know, like I said, I went to prison in 86 and I came home in 89, right? You know, my personal story, I'm trying to separate from the overall narrative, right? But when I came home, you know, a lot of things had changed. You know, people was, you know, active with gunplay, and you know what I mean? And I was hearing stories about, you know, my folks' house getting shot up and things of that nature, right? So when I came home, I couldn't go to my neighborhood because of my parole conditions, and I used to hang out over here with my girl a lot, and quite naturally, I fell right into what was going on. So, you know, my little partners was getting shot at and things of that nature, and I, you know, told them, you know, you have to put your foot down, you have to push back, right? And so a lot of the escalation from like 90, 91, you know what I'm saying? I kind of had a hand in some of that stuff, you know what I mean? Not because I wanted to gangbang, but because I had an interest in this block, you know what I'm saying? And this block was a money-getting block, and I just couldn't see abandoning the block unless somebody else occupied the space at the time. That was just my own street politics, you know what I'm saying?
Wait. Actually, we might want to just
stay right here.
Yeah, there's no cars. You can lean on that side. We're outside of the driveway. I'm gonna move. Actually, you know, let's go same back.
I don't think you gonna have to me.
Back same. Yeah, back.
I think he was just being an ass.
Go ahead. You was over. No. You the same way you was initially. Move to your left. Move to your left a little bit and back or to. Yeah, there we go. If we gotta move, we gotta move. I'm gonna keep the same way. All right, so let's back it up a little bit. You mentioned the Drew Crips. I guess they were the St. Andrews Crips. I need to know around what year was this, and do you remember any of those guys?
Absolutely. They weren't called the St. Andrews Crips. They were the Drew Boys, right? And that was just the local name that the Drew Boys, because they lived on St. Andrews, right? I remember Patrick Wells, they called him Spook. He was from Hoover, either 107 or 74. It was a brother named Roshan. I can't remember where Roshan was from. Then Spook had a brother named Marshall. It was a brother named Cato that was from Harlem that lived on Venice and St. Andrews. He had two fine sisters named Cha-Cha and Lovey, and anybody from around this area know who Cha-Cha and Lovey was. You see what I'm saying? And it was another OG dude, and these is grown men. You see what I'm saying? These is basically, you know, some of these dudes is grown men when I'm like 10, 11 years old. So Cisco, his brother named Cisco, had a lowrider on the corner of St. Andrews and 18th Street. And they used to all just kind of kick it on that street. It was a white girl that lived in the middle of the block on St. Andrews. I believe her name was Carol. You see, and you know, Daff used to come over there. A whole bunch of dudes used to come over there to this white girl's house. So for me coming living on St. Andrews, that apartment right there, that's St. Andrews in the back. I lived at the top. I used to just come down and hop the fence over here when this was just a blank, empty field, like 1975. But on the other street, right next to the masjid, it's a mosque on the next street. The next house was a house that it was always some gangbangers over there. And they was Crip dudes. You see what I'm saying? So that's the first time I ever seen Tookie and Jamel was right here on St. Andrews and 18th Street.
You mentioned Daff.
Yeah.
What would Daff be coming through here for?
I believe he was visiting the girls. It was like I said, it was a white girl that lived on the block. They were all older than me. She had to be at least 16, 17 years old when I was around 12. Okay. So, but this is the imagery. This is the imagery that I'm seeing as a 12-year-old coming out of my house, right? And like I said, the first time I saw Jamel Barnes and Tookie Williams was right here on St. Andrews and 18th Street. Tookie came over here. He had on overalls with the braids, and them dudes had on combat boots, and I was amazed when I saw them. It was like, you know, it was a big deal. You know what I mean? I didn't, you know, it was a big deal the way them dudes walked through here, right? But anyway, growing up later, when I found out who they really was, because another guy that I grew up with, Marv, like I said, Jamel Barnes used to lift weights with his brother. So it was frequent to see him coming over here.
Where did Marv stay?
Right here on the corner of Gramercy and 18th.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, his brother name was Stan. Stan used to play football at Manual Arts High School. You know, so that was just like the imagery we seen growing up. You know, we used to play football in the alley before you get to Manhattan, the alley right behind St. Andrews. Okay, we used to play football in that alley right there, and all in that alley, them dudes used to hang out around there. So, you know, we kind of felt like as we grew up, you know what I'm saying, them was like, kind of like, we looked at them like them was our big homies, even though we wasn't gang banging, right? We chose not to be gang bangers because we had ties on both sides.
Now, you mentioned the Drew boys. You said they weren't Crips per se?
No, they weren't. The Drew Boy was not a gang per se, like a clique, right, or a set. It was a combination of brothers or Crip dudes that lived in the neighborhood. It was all from different sets.
So how long did the Drew boys last, and what eventually happened to them?
When I came over here in '75, I guess they kind of just moved from the neighborhood. Ultimately, some of the Drew boys, the little Drew boys, became Manhattan mobs. So like your boy, I don't know if you ever heard a guy named Gustavo. Okay, Gus was a Drew boy, but he was a little Drew boy. His brother Romulo was a Drew boy, right? And those Drew boys were older than us. Gus is like my age, maybe a year older than me. Gustavo and Miguel. Okay, Gustavo, Miguel, and then Jose, who moved in the neighborhood later. Those dudes all gravitated towards Manhattan. So because it was an age difference, you dig what I'm saying? The Drew boys was damn near grown. They was grown men. You know what I mean? So we couldn't be with them. You know what I mean? So the generation behind them, you know, we forged our own identities. We forged our own identity.
So whatever happened to the Hoover guy that you mentioned that was one of the main Drew guys?
Oh, he was still around in the mid '80s. He was working like the homie Jaime, my homie Jaime, rest in peace. He just passed away. Okay, Jaime Loke moved over here. Jaime was from 107 Hoover. He had a brother named Kool that was from 11A East Coast. He was originally from Raymond, and the Raymonds killed his uncle. And so he turned from Raymond to 11A East Coast. They had two little brothers that was from Harlem. They moved on 18th, and as soon as they moved over here, it immediately took off because the blood started coming over here. You know what I'm saying? Because there was too many, you know what I'm saying, Crip dudes around here, so they started taking an interest in coming over here, right? Long story short, those dudes was older than us, so they didn't hang out with us. You see what I'm saying? Them dudes was already doing what they was doing. But one of them, you can look it up. It's a tow truck company called Men at Work. And that came out about 1984. You know what I'm saying? That was the homie Packy. They was like the first dudes, you know, some of the first dudes in LA to bust with the tow trucks, 1984. Okay, they were dealing with Waterhead Boat. So when they talking about plugs, like I was telling Musa, we talking about young dudes that had access to plugs, right? We had access to that through our homie's older brother. And so, you know, right after football and stuff like that, man, we went right into, you know, serving on the block, basically. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was never a gang. It was never a gang. The pushback came in from the pressure. Dudes feeling like you need to turn this or you need to be that. And so people felt like they needed to push back, and that's what happened.
All right, so let's go back to 83. You say Money Marv is the one that actually gave the name Gramercy Street Hustler.
Yeah.
That you guys were Gramercy Gangsters, the football team.
Yep.
What were you around for that transition? So take me through the name going from Gramercy Gangster as a football team to Gramercy Street Hustlers.
I don't even know why. Like I've spoke to Marvin, asked him like whatever gave you the inspiration for the name, and we don't know. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a. I don't know why he chose that name, but anyway, we was GGS, and GGS when Marv went to because Marv is a year older than me, so I went to Mount Vernon in 1980. That and 79 when they went. They start running into the GGCs. So it was a thing called GGS and it was a thing called GGC. And so the GGS was too much like GGC. You see what I'm saying? And so it's hard to like give you a chronology. It's not hard to give you a chronology, but to say why and when. I know from 1980, 81, 82 was GGS, and 82 to 83 was WCG. I remember that specifically because I got kicked out of Mount Vernon in the 7th grade. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was 1980, and we was playing football, and we played football with the Raymond Midgets, and then we connected. That was 82 when we joined forces. Raymond Midget, GGS.
Okay. So when you say GGC, just for the people that don't know,
Geer Gang
talking
Crip.
about gears. Yeah. Okay. I want to know a little more about two guys you mentioned that are resting in peace. That's Koolboy and Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Clinton Mejia is Koolboy, and Rollin Miller is Rocky. You knew both of these guys before I knew them.
Yes, sir.
So you got to experience a little bit of childhood with these guys.
Yes, sir.
Can you just briefly talk about these two gentlemen?
I'm gonna tell you something about Rocky that don't nobody else tell you about Rocky. Rocky was a hell of an athlete, man. Rocky is a dude who could have went to the pros in baseball for pitching the ball, or could have went to the pros from just playing football. He could have been a hell of a DB, you know what I mean? And these are some of the talented, dudes that I ever got on the field with, you know what I mean? Koolboy was younger than me. So Koolboy might be about 2 years old, younger than me, you know what I mean? But at that time, if I'm 12, he's 10, you see what I'm saying? So Koolboy was just a good spirit, man. You know what I mean? He was a good dude, Belizean dude. You know what I'm saying? I remember his sister. I mean, we used to go over there and stuff, right? But because Koolboy was a few years younger than me, we didn't hang, okay? But Koolboy and Rocky, man, like, what I could say about them brothers, man, rest in peace, is those was my friends. Those were my friends growing up before all the dumb shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, I did martial arts with Rocky for many years, and really learned how to get my squabble up.
Yeah.
Fighting with Rocky.
Yeah. Rocky wasn't no joke. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, I gravitated towards the blue side. Rocky gravitated towards the red side, and it was a natural thing because he's naturally from down there, right? Raymond Midgets was not a gang. It was a football team. You know what I'm saying? As he got older and, wanted to hit the streets, he wanted to be in with that. I don't have no problem with that. It never caused a rift with us except for I was someplace and Rocky and I don't know if it was Koolboy, it might have been Trey K. They pulled up at a party, and I was at a party with some, and I was, check this out. I used to rap back in the days. I was at a party with my DJ, and I'm rapping at the party. And Rocky and Trey K come to the party, and the party's in schoolyard hood. And when the schoolyards came and, they hit them up and they left and all that, when I seen them later, they want to ask me, was I with the schoolyards? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn well I wasn't with the schoolyards because I was there when you got there. You know what I'm saying? They came in after y'all. So, it was just like, little stuff like that, start occurring, right? And he had sufficient reason for asking me that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, in 83, I start gangbanging. You know what I'm saying? I start claiming Geer Gang Crip. I got put on Geer Gang Crip in 1983, right?
While living over here on Manhattan, on St. Andrews?
No, I didn't live over here. I lived over there.
Okay.
Yeah, see, when I came back from Texas in 1983, I got kicked out of Inglewood for taking a gun to school. Yeah, I got kicked out of Mount Vernon, you know what I'm saying, went to Inglewood. I got kicked out of Inglewood for taking a gun. I went to Texas for a year. When I came back from Texas is when the GSH just started. Okay? But I didn't move over here. I lived with my father, who lived on West Haven, right? And so I started kicking it with them. You know what I mean? And for me, it wasn't a conflict because Gramercy wasn't a gang. You understand what I'm saying? It was a football team, right? And I had a lot of issues. I might get in your interview later. You know, things that happened growing up with some of these dudes over here. But you know, when I started gangbanging, you know, that like I told, you know, I'm from Gramercy Street Hustlers when I got put on gear, right? So they knew about Gramercy Street Hustlers, but a few times I think somebody saw me over here and went back and told somebody over there, and so they got the notion that he over there kicking it with them, so it created a conflict for me over there, you know what I'm saying? But for me, just being who I am, I'm gonna go where the fuck I wanna go, you know what I'm saying? And so I never stopped coming over here like I lived over here. You know what I'm saying? My girlfriend lived over here, right? So I never stopped coming over here, right? And that's just my own personal story, right? That don't have nothing to do with nobody else, right? But I had a friend named Donald Brim, you know what I'm saying? And you know, Donald Brim was my sandbox friend, you know what I'm saying? From 4th grade, right? Donald Brim never gangbanged. He never claimed a blood set or a Crip set.
But his family is a big Grape Street Crip family.
That's right, the Ronald, the Brims, the whole family, right? But Donald Brim himself grew up on 24th, and you know, we used to shoot BB guns, man, and you know, raise pigeons and you know, do our thing. But Donald Brim, you know, he bubbled. He came up on a little money, right? And so, you know, them dudes had an issue with Donald Brim over there. You know what I'm saying? He had a 5.0 that was purple, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, they had issues with him, and then they robbed one of his spots and somebody ended up getting murdered, and you know what I'm saying?
T-Loke, a guy named Tony got killed.
Yeah, you know, so when I came home and I started hanging out with Donald, you know, Rocky and Trey K is tripping on Donald. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I didn't know nothing about it. I'm coming home from prison, but man, I got into a shootout with them dudes just because I was with Donald. You know what I mean? And you know, you can't really avoid certain things.
So to a certain extent, they thought you as a Crip sympathizer.
Of course.
Yeah. Now let me ask you about another guy that grew up over here that became a Crip, but grew up with the Bloods. I don't know if you know him. A guy named Chipper.
Yeah, I know Chipper.
Chipper ended up becoming a
boy.
Yeah, he
was originally a Cimarron boy,
yeah,
and then he became from Mansfield. Yeah, Chipper was my partner, man.
I always wondered, like, I grew up with Chipper, with
Chipper
all the
was
Bloods,
partner,
and then one day he's claiming
to play football against them. That's just L.A., man.
Bro lived right off of Washington. He ain't never lived in Mansfield Hood.
Right, man. You know, it's a lot of funny stuff around here if you think about it. Like, you know, dudes that's from BlackStone and avenues that be with the Mansfields. I think it's a family connection through Dion Bess or somebody over there. You know what I'm saying? Some family connections over there. You know what I mean? And that's just what the crazy thing is about LA. The dynamics are so interwoven into the families, man. Like I told you, my cousin was Dopey from Deuce 5. You see what I'm saying? My uncle was from Hoover family. I got a cousin that was from Southside Village, Pomona, that lived on St. Andrews, and he was a Drew boy, moved to Pomona and got killed in Pomona. That was in 79. So we was around all these dynamics, and it's like, you know, navigating that shit as a young man can be, it ain't no joke, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not nothing to laugh at, you know what I'm saying? And because a lot of lives have been lost over foolishness, and I didn't really come here to put like no 50 on no juvenile delinquency. You know what I'm saying? I've been Muslim going on 30 years now. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, all of it is dumb to me, dumb bunch of foolishness. And, you know, young brothers need to really, you know, take lessons from, you know, the ones that came before them, you know what I'm saying, the good and the bad. And that's really, really was my motivation, man, is to first correct the narrative, you know what I'm saying? Anybody else you want to ask about, cool, but also to, you know, top it off with, you know, that was some years that we can never get back, man. You know what I'm saying? And the decimation that was done to this community, at my hands and the hands of others, I feel for that. You know what I'm saying? I feel remorseful. I feel like, you got to do something to redeem yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if I could say something that a youngsters, you know, can take a benefit from, you know, it's my duty to do so. You know, and that's really, really the bottom line on why I even wanted to get out here and do this, man.
Now, I wanted to ask you about the merging of the Raymond Midgets and the GGSs.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Like, who was involved in that?
Marv, man.
Marv is
the man.
Yeah.
Marv's the man. You know what I'm saying? And people might not want to give him his props, you know, but Marv was very instrumental and pivotal in our early stages. Marv is the one. It was the Marv and John. Marv and John is the ones who basically hooked up all our football games. You see what I'm saying? So when we was playing all the other streets, it was them dudes who was, you know, organizing them games.
But why the merger with the Raymond Midgets as opposed to any of the other teams out here?
They was the ones who we couldn't beat.
It's because they had Rocky, huh? Because they had Rocky.
I'm telling you, and not just Rocky. They had Easy and Big Mike, man. Usually enough, you know, them dudes, man. Them dudes was laying on their back, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we beat them, they beat us. We beat them, they beat us. You know what I'm saying? And we just said, no, man, we beating everybody else. We need to connect. And that's basically Marv, man. Marv and John did that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So around this time in 83, 84, from my understanding, the avenues which are to the west of us,
Cross Arlington,
the avenues were starting to really make a name for themselves too, and they were merging in with the Rollin 20s Bloods.
Absolutely.
Did you get to witness any of that happening?
Absolutely. I, from a distance and from up close. I'll put it like this, right? We went to school with them, of course. We played football against Leonard and them, okay? Before they was avenues, right? So while we were doing our thing, it's just the time in human evolution that other people are doing the same thing, okay? So like I said, this is 83, bro. After Scarface dropped, everybody grabbed sacks. So I didn't know that they were selling drugs over there, me personally, right? But I can imagine because everybody started doing it. You know what I mean? Reggie King, Deshaun King, I remember a dude named Teran.
The Flower Brothers, maybe?
I know Carl Flowers, Crazy K. He socked me when I was at Chabalitas too, nigga. I remember you had Little Monster, you know what I'm saying? But I remember Crazy K when he was skinny. I remember when he first started gangbanging. He might not even remember me. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, I went to LA with Crazy K, Mr. Nice, you know what I'm saying? Black Tom, you know. Black Tom and me was pretty cool. You see what I'm saying? Me and Black Tom used to blow weed together, right? Me, Black Tom, and Mingo from schoolyards used to smoke weed together at LA High. And we wasn't having no kind of issues, right? Because he wasn't the type of dude. Back then, it was like the only dudes who was having the issues was the dude who was trying to start an issue. Yeah, man. I remember when they started doing their thing. I didn't really hear of A&H, I believe maybe 85, 86.
Well, that was something different, right? Avenue Hustlers
And
the Avenues are different, are two separate things.
But ain't the Avenue Hustlers basically turned to the Avenue 20s?
No, I think the Avenue Hustlers became more Biddy Stones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the Avenue Hustlers would. You know what? You're right. That's Hob now.
Yes.
Hob now is the Avenue Hustlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Avenue 20s is something else. I don't know why I put them two together. Yeah, you're right about that. I remember, the Avenue Hustlers. The Avenue Hustlers, Rob and Cat's little brothers.
And that's mostly all Biddy Stone.
Yeah.
But I would consider today the Avenues claim all of this to Western now as their turf.
They can have it.
Were there ever?
I claim the earth is mine. I'm Khalifa. Allah's Akbar.
Yeah.
You can have your street.
But back then, in the mid 80s, before you went to prison, were they pushing it that far at that time?
Hell no. Not over here. Not over here, bro. How you pushing it and we was here? You know what I'm saying? Like I say, out of that whole scenario, Rocky, Koolboy turned 20s. Shotgun turned BlackStone. Who else we talking about? Who else we talking about? You see what I'm saying? Because that's the only 3 people that I know of. You see what I'm saying? Shotgun wanted to get money. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at him, you know, but, you know, all that other stuff like people made people this and people made people that never happened. Never happened. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying it like no badass, it just never happened. You know what I mean? What happened when I was in prison and you know what I'm saying? I can't speak on. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't know of nobody else other than those 3 people.
So you left in 86?
Yep.
Okay. Now, when you was growing up, do you recall a brother that lived on the corner of Gramercy and Venice that eventually moved a little west and became a founder of co-founder of Schoolyard
Big
Crip?
Big Blue, Kenny Furbush. I know the family. They was Jehovah's Witnesses. My family was my mom was a Jehovah's Witness. So we went to the same Kingdom Hall on Pico. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I remember. See, that's what I'm trying to get. That's really what I'm trying to impart to you, Lonzo, and for everybody else, Bloods or Crips, right? When we was over here, we were influenced by these older dudes, just seeing them. You see what I'm saying? Now, we wasn't running with them. So it was just too many of us that had connections other places to just be like falling in and we gonna be red rags. You see what I'm saying? That could never happen for a whole bunch of people over here. So they decided we gonna be neutral. You see what I'm saying? People don't want you to be neutral. You see what I'm saying? You gotta fight to be neutral. You gotta fight to be one. You gotta fight to not to be one. So that's what it was, bro. That's just what it was.
Okay, so when how long was it GGS before you guys turned to WGC, then Gramercy Street Hustler? How many?
About 2 years.
2 years. Now, who would you say were the first generation GGSs?
Marv, John, Dre, me, I'm trying to put them in order. And then P-Dub, then Will moved over. You know what I'm saying? Tracy, Dog, Lloyd, and then they got little cousins, little Ken, you know what I'm saying? Nose, you know what I'm saying? This kid, Babe, you know what I'm saying? But you know, it's like that's the first generation.
So when did Lil Will move right over there, right?
Right in this building right here.
Oh, I thought he lived in the corner building.
No, sir, right this building.
So
New Jack. That's New Jack.
It's a whole bunch of people I'm missing. Darnell, Lil Reggie, you know what I'm saying? Peanut, Ghost. It's a whole bunch of people I'm missing, bro.
New Jack over here.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, you said in the beginning it was no drug dealing, no dope dealing.
No.
What year do you think that changed?
83. 83. You know what I'm saying? You know, because we started it. You know what I mean? And the cold part about it, like, you know, we was teenagers, bro. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even know what we was doing. When I think back, we didn't even know what we was doing. When Mike pulled up on the block the first day and opened the trunk, bro, he opened the trunk and it was slabs in the trunk. You know what I'm saying? We ain't never started out small time. You know what I'm saying? That's the way we came into it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we bubbled from day one. We had too much of that shit. We had shit, didn't even know what it was worth. I was giving shit away that I didn't even know what it was worth at that time, bro.
When did the Bloods from the surrounding area start to realize them dudes on Gramercy is making money?
I would say 85 to 86.
And slowly but surely, they started to pop up on the block, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember who were some of the first ones that popped up on the block?
Let me think. I can't think, man, because nobody had a dope spot. You see what I'm saying? I used to walk around here literally with it on me, walking.
Yeah.
Walk to the store, walk up, down Gramercy up to 24th, you see what I'm saying? Go let people know, you know what I'm saying? Walk back, you know what I'm saying? Walking with it on me, you know what I'm saying? So we didn't have, like, we wasn't in the house yet, you know what I'm saying? So, but as far as Bloods that was out here serving, I can't tell you, bro. I would say that probably is right when I went to jail. You know what I'm saying? You know, cause gun, me and Shotgun was messing with Cat. I remember when we was messing with Cat, we was going to Pasadena in '85. Okay, '86 I go to prison, right? When I come back, so the time I'm gone, it's the time that they really blew the block up as far as out here serving. We didn't stand right here in my era. We walked all around this motherfucker. We didn't just stand in no one place. That came in the 90s when I came home, and like I said, this building, it was a, you know, and I took this little spot right here, but that was in 90, you know what I mean?
Now, before you went to prison in '86, did you hear the names of Cat and Geek and others that were ballers?
Not. See, you just made me recollect. Yeah, see, you got to say stuff, really trigger some thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when 84, 85, you know what I'm saying? Geek, Thomas, Lil Day, was that KB, Bird, and them dudes, you know what I'm saying? You know, all them dudes was getting money on that side. You see what I'm saying? And because Little Will, Cat, you see what I'm saying? His sister Rhonda got a baby by Cat, right? That's a connection to that side of, you know what I'm saying, through Little Will, right? And so Little Will messed with Thomas and Geek and them. We didn't mess with Thomas and Geek and them. You get what I'm saying? You know, Little Will messed with them, but, you know, that wasn't the whole hood. That was that. This is how it go. One of our homies got a plug, we all got the plug. You see what I'm saying? So because Lil Will was in, you see what I'm saying? We was in. Because if I get it through Will.
Now, in your day, 83, 84, 85, before you went to prison, was Geek one of the bigger ballers at that time, or were there some
Over
others?
here.
Yeah, on the other side of Arlington.
Over I'm gonna just say in this whole area. Yeah.
Okay.
Geek. Yeah. Geek. Day blew up first.
I remember Day.
Day blew up first.
He ended up becoming a smoker, huh?
Man, I remember, man. Day was my little partner.
Whatever
man.
happened to Day?
I was in the pen with Day.
Okay.
Day. Let me tell you about Day, man. Day never gangbang either. You see what I'm saying? Day was just a dude that was about getting his money, who happened to live around this area, around this way, and he used to ride his beach cruiser and come all the way down Adams to Hauser and Redondo. And the homies seen him over there and was like trying to jack him. And I was like, that dude don't gangbang. They was like taking his shit, you know what I'm saying? Taking it all out of his beach cruiser, out the handlebars and shit. I couldn't really stop him, but I was like, he don't gangbang, man. I feel sorry for him because I know he don't gangbang, right? But I seen Day in the pen, man, you know what I'm saying? And and his story trips me out because Day was a square. Day was getting money, but he didn't smoke cigarettes, didn't smoke weed, didn't smoke nothing. And then all of a sudden, he went left somewhere, I heard, and started smoking. You know what I'm saying? So that just didn't add up to me. I'm like, that didn't smoke cigarettes.
Now let me ask you a question about Day. When I was in high school, those pickup trucks were really a big thing.
Day shit was sweet.
And Day had one of the
Day shit was fly. He had the flyest one.
Yeah.
To me.
Can you talk about the popularity of the pickup truck back then?
Man, the Nissan truck, man, like in '84.
Dog was competing with him. I can say that.
Dog, yeah. But
Dog
they
was
pulled up in that maroon joint, bruh, and it was just like the motherfucker had sounds. That's when you can get blocks. Like when you hit the block, boom, and you boom, that motherfucker be turning on Washington, going up the street, and you can still hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was from that era, you know. It was influential to see, you know, somebody you know come boom, bust like that, right? So it was inspirational. You know what I mean? I think that I think he was the first one but I think Geek bought that from him or something though. Didn't Geek buy that truck from him or something? You know what I'm saying? I believe so. You know, but yeah, them was and see like Geek come from some line of hustling though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the bald head boys, Keith and Tony and all them, they been getting money. They family been getting money. So, you know, he come from over on that side. You know what I'm saying? I had a little friend named Lil Willie. You know Lil Willie? Willie Jackson? Little Wee Dog, you know Pay Dog? Okay, that's Dave BlackStone. Anyway, that's Wee Dog is Pay Dog's little brother. You know what I'm saying? But that was my childhood friend, man. Because Black Vernon was getting money. Black Vernon, you know what I'm saying? He used to call him Toy Man. I don't know what it is. Yeah, that was his pop locking name. I didn't even give you my pop locking stories, you know what I'm saying? But Black Vernon was getting money. And I know that Lil Maurice was getting money. Lil Crazy. You know what I'm saying? They, but I don't know nobody else.
Eventually, Rocky started getting money.
Rocky, I was gonna say eventually Rocky. You know what I'm saying? You know, but yeah, out of there, that was pretty much it. Donald Brim, you know, in that little pocket.
Yeah.
You know.
We moved to another location. Where did we move to?
Now we're on the corner of 18th and St. Andrews Place.
And why is this corner so meaningful?
This corner is meaningful because it's the street that I moved on to in 1975, where in which my experiences and journeys as a young man began. We moved to the middle of this block, which is 1625 South St. Andrews, right next to the masjid there.
And what was the racial demographics like back in the 70s here?
Oh my God, it was that side of the street, the east side of St. Andrews, primarily after like the first, second, or third apartment, it was all Koreans on that side of the street. And it was one black family at the corner. And that was my partner, Kato. And they had the sister Cha-Cha and Lovey I was telling you about earlier. So this street is the street that I moved to, and it was the first visuals that I got in this neighborhood for, you know, the dynamics of who was in the neighborhood, the kids that were in the neighborhood, the kids that was riding dirt bikes and skateboards and stuff up this street, you know, are the first kids that I saw. And so when I mentioned that there was a little pocket and a little clique called the Drew Boys, they used to hang out right on this corner, literally in that yard right there. And I had a partner named Little Timmy who had an older brother named Patrick Wells. Patrick Wells' name was Spook, and he was from Hoover. And his older brother name was Marshall, and they was older Crip dudes, right? And there was another Crip dude named Roshan, and I don't know where Roshan lived at, but he used to always be sitting in a white Riviera right here. It was always parked here. It was another older guy. He was grown too. His name was Cisco, and he had a lowrider. He lived on this corner. It was a guy named T-Bone that lived in the middle of the block who ended up singing with the Mighty Clouds of Joy. He was an OG Crip dude who had turned Christian and became a gospel singer. So when I first moved over here and started moving around, walking to the stores and stuff, I used to see all that activity of all these, you know, gang members over here. And I also remember seeing when the Rolling 20s used to walk through here. And I mean, when they walked through here, it was like 50 of them. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I'm like about 11 years old at the time, right? I can remember when I had my elementary graduation party, my 6th grade graduation party. I mentioned earlier that we used to all have house parties around here, so I couldn't wait to have mine. And so when I had my party, you know, it was going well, and then about 11 o'clock, you know, the Rolling 20s showed up, man. And I mean, you know, I was 12 turning 13, and the cats that came to the party, they was like 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, right? So they like shut my party down, right? And you know, I got vivid memories of seeing them, you know, coming through here looking for the Crips that used to live on this block, is what I was trying to indicate to you. Also, it was an incident that I remember Mad Ronald was talking about on one of his interviews. You know, Mad Ronald and I, we go back. I was, we were in the 5th grade together, you know, and Mad Ronald, like I always say, was always Mad Ronald. Mad Ronald was Mad Ronald in the 5th grade. You know what I'm saying? I remember when he used to wear his brother's All-Stars. You dig what I'm saying? You know, his brother's big ass khakis, you know what I mean? Couldn't even fit him, you know, but, he was the first young cat that I knew that was a gang member already in elementary school. He was
What school was this at?
24th Street Elementary.
Oh, okay.
24th Street Elementary. Yeah, when I moved over here, I did my 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade year at 24th.
So what was it like meeting Mad Ronald? I guess what you said 5th grade, so that's like 12. No, that's like 11.
No, I'm like 10.
10.
Yeah.
And he's already banging, huh?
Yeah, he was already gang banging. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Lila. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, I started at 24th in my 3rd grade year, coming from Manhattan Place elementary school, right? So Mad Ronald was an interesting character for me because he dressed like a gang member already. You know what I'm saying? He literally was wearing khakis, you know, they was too big for him. You know what I'm saying? They were his big brother's khakis. You dig what I'm saying? And so, like, he already had a nickname, Mad Ronald. You know what I'm saying? At 10 years old, 11 years old, man, he was the first dude I ever seen that already was a gang member at that early of an age.
Now, did you get a chance to meet his 2 older brothers, K-Ray and Crazy B?
I never met K-Ray. I met Crazy B, but I didn't meet Crazy B until many years later as far as meeting him. But I've always known of him, and because his name was one of the most infamous names in this area, Crazy B, K-Ray, Santa Claus, those 3 names in particular are names from the 20s that resonate with me in my consciousness, in my memory. Now I know a whole bunch of other names. I'm Pistol Pete, you know, I know a whole bunch of other names, T-Bone and Reese, and you know what I'm saying. I know them dudes too, right? You know what I'm saying? Because my cousin was Deuce 5, Dopey. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. So I know them. You know what I mean?
Okay, so what was it like after elementary school? You went to Mount Vernon. Did Mad Ronald go to Mount Vernon also?
You know what? I can't even tell you if Mad Ronald went to Mount Vernon. I believe he did, though. I believe he did, because I went to Mount Vernon my 7th grade year, and then I got kicked out of Mount Vernon. The year I went to Mount Vernon, that's pretty much the year that myself and my partner I was telling you about earlier, Marv, that's kind of the year when we really start kind of like choosing the streets, like gravitating towards kind of like what you would call juvenile delinquency. You know what I'm saying? Because all this stuff is juvenile delinquency, bro. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to seem like we was no, you know, John Gotti's and nothing, because that's all it was, a juvenile delinquency. But you know, me and Marv used to have a friend that he was from Kitchen Crip, but he turned Sereno. Yeah, he was from Kitchen Crip, and he turned Eastside 38th Street. It's a black dude named Sleepy. And you can check this history. Sleepy got killed by the Palmetto Flats when he was like 16, 17 years old. But when we was at Mount Vernon, he came on the yard, and when he came on the yard, he just hit the whole yard up. He did through an east side, and he did a boom, 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 38th Street, and then all the 18th Street surrounded him, and just the homie, and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, and that shit was big stuff in our consciousness at the time, seeing this gang activity. You know, that dude hit the yard, and he got it on, you know what I'm saying? He represented, and he had his little issues with the little harpies up there and stuff, and, you know, he was close to us. We was close to that dude, and so we started carrying our screwdrivers in our back pockets too, you know what I'm saying? That was quite an era, man. That was quite an era.
Now, when you got to Mount Vernon, from what I was told, it was mostly a blood school.
Absolutely, it was a blood school. However, there were enough Crips at Mount Vernon for there to be issues. I can tell you, I remember an issue at Mount Vernon. At the end of the year, The end of the year, at the end of my 1980 school year at Mount Vernon, it was a big squabble at Mount Vernon when all the Crips and Bloods fought. It's like they waited till the whole year was over and then they fought. You know what I'm saying? It was a girl named Lady, and I think she was from like 8 Trey or 8 Trey Hoover or something. There was a girl named Kathy that used to hang out with her, and Kathy lived right down the street down here on Pico and 15th. And there was some West Boulevards that went there. It was some schoolyards had just started. They was there. Capone, Sleepy, Conway. You know what I'm saying? So it was a handful of little Crip dudes that was there that had got sent there from other schools.
Was Rocky going there at the time?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. But Rocky wasn't gangbanging there. Rocky wasn't gangbanging at Mount Vernon. Rocky was not gangbanging at Mount Vernon. Period. He might have had aspirations, you see what I'm saying, but he wasn't doing it at that time. Rocky was playing football with us. You know what I'm saying? None of us was gangbanging at that time yet.
Okay. Now I mentioned Chipper earlier. When you got out of prison and knew he was from Mansfield, since you guys kind of had a similar story growing up on this side, but then representing West LA Crips, did you and Chipper ever get a bond going over
Absolutely. Me and Chipper never had a falling out. You see what I'm saying? From the time we was kids at 24th Street Elementary, it kind of blew my mind because I thought Chipper was gonna be a Blood.
I think Chipper was a Blood.
He might have been from 20s down the street because, the Cimarron Boys was a football team, just like we was the Gramercy football team. They weren't gang bangers, but where they're located and some of the dudes on the team, they're going to grow up to be Bloods. You dig what I'm saying? So, like, it was a little dude named Lil Ronnie. Lil Ronnie got killed early on. It's a dude named Lil Swanee. You know what I'm saying? Lil Swanee was a Blood already because he had some older brothers or something that was already gangbanging. So little dudes like that, they really didn't even have no choice. They kind of like was bred into it. But the Cimarron Boys, the way I recall, I didn't hang out with them down there, so they might have been claiming Blood already. You know what I mean? I can give you stories about a whole lot of people that went to 24th Elementary School. My little partner, little curly-haired Lloyd, right? Curly-haired Lloyd Freeman. Not Lloyd Freeman, because it's another Lloyd, Lloyd Echoes. Lloyd Echoes became...
Or Laurie Esteen?
No, Lloyd.
Oh, Lloyd.
Yeah, Lloyd Freeman. Lloyd Freeman, little curly haired Lloyd grew up right here in the Deuce 520s. He grew up to be from 30s. You know what I'm saying? And I seen him later at Uncle Jam's Army, you know what I'm saying, in like 84, and he was with a pack of hard. I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And that was probably the last time I seen him, but he grew up with me and Donald Brim.
Well, most of these guys turned in their teens, though.
Yeah, man, check this out, man. Let me tell you how I feel about gangs. You're from where your parents live, right? You don't make those decisions on your own, independent of external factors and dynamics, right? So people be talking this hood and keeping it 100. You can't keep it 100 with nothing that you don't own, bruh. Period. You know what I'm saying? So that be, that's why right now there's a bunch of dudes that claim neighborhoods that don't live in them neighborhoods. You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't own nothing on the block. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them dudes who still claiming them neighborhoods, a lot of the other people done moved out of them neighborhoods. You see what I'm saying? So that's like a stage in your juvenile growth and development before you making decisions as a man.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you about a couple of people. You mentioned him a little while ago, Santa Claus.
Yes, sir.
Very, very famous Rollin 20 Blood.
Very, very notorious name, absolutely.
And he got killed in '93, just a few blocks away from where we're standing right now. What's your first recollection of hearing about him?
Hearing about him. Hearing about antics, Santa Claus hats and, you know what I'm saying, and suits and things of that nature. You know, I've heard a lot of stories. I can't confirm, you know what I'm saying, because like I said, I didn't run with Santa Claus or nothing, you know what I'm saying? It's just a name, you know, like Crazy B, you know, but when I did later meet Santa Claus was some years later when I had come of age. You see what I'm saying? So it was a different dynamic at that time, and unfortunately, you know, he succumbed to some habits, you know, that a lot of people do, and so he wasn't the former Santa Claus that people knew of when I seen him and I met him, you know, in the physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did he ever come on Gramercy?
I've heard stories of him coming on Gramercy, but I was never on Gramercy when he came on Gramercy until, like I said, when I met him later, which is in the early '90s, and you know he wasn't Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know,
Kenny.
yeah, I know Kenny. I know Kenny from high school, and I remember, you know, they started lifting weights and, you know, and all that, because we was all on weight training. We was all playing football, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So I remember Kenny, just him and that whole crew, you know. I remember him and that whole crew, you know. I didn't never hang out with Kenny, you know, myself personally, but I know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was Wendell and Wayne a part of that crew?
Yeah, man. Wendell and Wayne are a little more familiar because, like I said, James and Landry were two young dudes who lived in the building, and they were a few years younger than me, and they played football with us. They were on our. We had two teams. We had the big team and the little team, right? So they played on the little team. They had cousins, and they invited and introduced me to their cousins, and their cousins were Wendell and Wayne and Yvette. Can't leave old pretty, sexy chocolate out of it. But like I said earlier, Landry told me a long time ago he was gonna be a Blvd. You know, and I'm talking about that's probably like 82, somewhere around that time, you know what I mean? So, you know, he did his thing, you know what I mean? And I wasn't surprised, you know, I wasn't surprised.
Okay. And I want to ask you about your Geer Gang ties, because I could imagine, you said there were some issues with Trey K and Rocky one day.
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine the issues are like, bro knows everybody over here. You have the intelligence
I
of
got
this
the
entire
intelligence.
community.
Absolutely.
But you're representing a rival area.
Absolutely. But see, this is how I don't give a fuck how nobody else looked at it.
Yeah.
I looked at it like this. I moved over here in 1975, right? And I walked these streets for many years, just like everybody else did, right? And when we forged our identity and we decided we wasn't gonna be Crips or Bloods, I got a right to these streets, and just like everybody else, and that's the attitude I had. The thing about me becoming a Geer Gang was, when I came back from Texas, that's why I moved at, right? Now, I told you I had little run-ins and issues or skirmishes with these dudes all growing up, right? So when I came back from Texas and I came over here and those issues was continuing, I personally made the choice that I'm gonna gangbang. I'm gonna go straight cripping with mine, because if we gonna keep having these issues, then that's the route I'm gonna take, right? And that's just the history of how that went.
So at the time, you basically say you had a little resentment for the Bloods.
Absolutely, man. Did I tell you the story, or I told you the story? When I was walking home from 24th Street Elementary, when I was in the 6th grade, one of them dudes came up and slapped me with a red rag. You know what I'm saying? He was coming from Mount Vernon. We was walking home from school, slapped me with a red rag. When I had my party, they turned my party out. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it was like, you know, I had some resentment, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like the type of resentment to where I hated them, because, like I told you earlier, some of these dudes was my childhood friends, man. You see what I'm saying? When I say childhood friends, I mean they came to my house. You dig what I'm saying? Little Willie came to my house. It's a dude named Martinelli from BlackStone, lived on 21st, used to come to my house. I used to pop lock with these dudes. Big from 20s, that down there on 15. Me and Big started pop locking right here on St. Andrews. You see what I'm saying? These were childhood friends, but they had their own connections and influences like I had mine. You see what I'm saying? So that's just the way the dynamics played out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but I never had no issue with nobody that I had nothing personal with. That unless I had something personal with you. You dig what I'm saying? Like, if you personally said something to me or keep banging on me and hitting me up, and then that's who I'm gonna have the issue with, right? I'm not finna go mess with your homies around the block, right? And that's how I did it, you know? That's how I did it. Yeah, so you know, that's kind of how that dynamic played out for me personally. You know, that's not the Gramercy Street Hustler story. That's my story. I'm taking responsibility for it. Cause you know, like I said, you know, I had to squabble with homies from Geer because of me hanging out over here. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and they had the wrong impression, you know what I'm saying, thinking that the Gramercy Street Hustlers was Bloods, and then the Bloods was thinking that they was Crips, and so, you know what I mean? It was just a crazy dynamic. What's up, Mike G?
What's the word, dog?
Oh man, shoot, man, just trying to give them the history, bro. I wish you was here, man, so you could have told them about them Raymond Midgets.
We could do a part 2 with him.
Yeah, this
live?
is my partner, Mike. He's an original Raymond Midget.
Is he in L.A.?
Yeah, he's in L.A.
Oh, okay, well,
And he can tell you about Rocky and Koolboy.
I'll get his number after.
Absolutely. He gonna get your number, Mike. We're gonna do a part 2.
All right.
Yeah, you can give him that Raymond Midget history.
All right. Yeah, I'm at work, so I'll just call and check on you, bro.
That's what's up. That's what's up, G. I'm gonna wrap it up, man, and then I'll get back with you.
All right.
All right, one.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask some questions about your Geer Gang experience over there.
Yeah.
If you can, put the phone in your pocket.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hold on to this move.
When I was a kid, or in my teens growing up, I used to hear the street Carlin over there in Geer Hood. Did you live anywhere?
I lived on the other side.
You lived on
I lived on West Haven.
and was it really the active block for the hood over there?
Absolutely, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it like this. Because I didn't start serving over there, I started serving over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going over there trying to serve, me personally, I didn't have the same action at getting it off on Carlin as I had it over here. And that's why I kept my hand over here, because that was wild and crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, Carlin is the wildest block I ever been on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember in my era, right, when we used to stand on Carlin, every car that hit the block, dudes was already aiming at them cars, homie. You see what I'm saying? When them cars come down the street, you already looking for if the windows is down or what, if the lights is off, and that's the only, so that was gang banging. This over here wasn't gang banging. You dig what I'm saying? It was like shit had went up a notch. You dig what I'm saying? And that's what it was. It was definitely a notorious block.
Now, what year was this on Carlin?
83, 84, 85. You see what I'm saying? I moved, as a matter of fact, in 85, I went to the boys. I went to a boys' home in 1985. You see what I'm saying? I juvenile hall, went to the boys, went to a placement, and then I AWOL'd from placement when I turned 18. So that's when I left from over there as 85. And then 86, I went to prison as soon as I came out of the placement.
So when you went to prison, you went as a Geer Gang Crip?
Absolutely.
You didn't push the Gramercy Street?
Okay. No, I was already gangbanging.
Okay. And when you was on Carlin in 83, right? Geer was a relatively new Crip gang at the time, right?
Well, see, people say that, you know what I'm saying? And see, I'm not an original Geer Gang Crip member, right? When I used to talk to the homies about when Geer came out, they was like 1977. You see what I'm saying? And the homie Big Ace Rat, you know what I'm saying? Donald, I spoke to him personally about it, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that's what I was said, 1977.
Well, that's 6 years in. If you on the block 83, 84, then that means they've been around 6
They've been around,
years.
yeah, they already established, bro.
Now, this probably happened after your time, but when did the 18th Street start? I guess the Smiley drives were the first ones over there?
Yeah.
When did they start kind of making a name for themselves in the same area where Geer was claiming?
Probably towards the latter end of the 80s. Towards the latter end of the 80s, and this is my experience, and I'm telling you, Allah is my witness. I witnessed a bunch of my homeboys knock 18 streets out on Smiley, on Geer, on Carlin, on West Haven. You dig what I'm saying? And I can name names, you know what I'm saying? I know Crow used to have a weed spot. Little dude named Babyface, he was a little dude. It was a black dude named Smokey. It was another dude that he was gonna be from Geer, but he became Big Oso it was a black dude from 18th Street. Bandit. Anyway.
Wait, was Bandit black?
No, I don't think Bandit was black.
Okay.
No.
But they had quite a few black.
There was a couple of black 18th Streets over there. Rocky. There was a dude named Rocky from 18th Street over there.
Okay, so how was the relationship between Geer and 18 when you first got over there?
When I first got over there, it wasn't no beef. It was no beef. There were initial skirmishes. There were squabbles, here and there, but it wasn't a beef where nobody was crossing each other's hood out or that wasn't happening yet. Yeah.
I guess when you got to prison, I guess when you came home from prison in 90, it started.
It had started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had started.
And do you know kind of what kicked that off to where it took it to the next level?
I do not. You know what I'm saying? I can't say what escalated it. It's probably had to do with something with the drug trade.
Probably. I remember driving through there about maybe 10, 15 years ago, and I saw some 18th Street graffiti, and it had something, it said like, fuck Geer, fuck niggas on the wall. It got racial.
Yeah, well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to take it to that level because, what else can they do? That's the next level to take it to.
Now, if you go through there now, it don't seem like there's too many blacks that live there at all.
Probably not. I haven't been over there well, when I came home from prison in 2004, I went over there to meet with my homie Lil Top, you know what I'm saying, just to go meet with him, you know what I'm saying, and pulled up on the block, but that was the last time I think I've been over there.
Okay.
Yeah. See, when I came home, I had already been Muslim for years. Like, I started studying Islam in 1988. So a lot of what the continuation of my dumb shit in the 80s, it was a spillover. But I was already kind of gravitating and trying to grow out of that stuff, man, But yeah, I was active, though. I was definitely active, and I definitely represented it in the penitentiary, and I definitely got it on my record, and you can look it up, and I definitely did shoot program time behind it, and I was in riots behind it, so, that's just part of growing up, man. What it is.
Did you ever bump into any of these 18 streeters in prison that lived in the hood?
A couple of them. Yeah, a couple of them, and they didn't have no problems. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, but see, when I went in 86, it was a couple of them that I ran across, you know what I'm saying? But we wasn't kicking it, you know what I'm saying? It was like we see each other, you know what I'm saying, and keep it moving because, in prison, Cimarronos is doing their thing and, we doing our thing.
Now, if you was to talk to the 18 streeter today and get the history from them, they would claim that they ran the Geer gangs out of the hood.
People can say what they want to say, but I know it's still Geer gangs, you know what I'm saying? I think people had already moved up out of the neighborhoods. The gentrification, you got to understand the dynamics of what crack cocaine did to our community. That's like I was telling the brother earlier. I feel terrible about how many people lost their houses. You dig what I'm saying? And had to move, I think it was more a lot of that than them actually running somebody. All right. All right now. I think it was a lot more of that than them running us off. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no recollection of that.
What's the relationship with the other Crip sets on that side of town? I guess the West Boulevards were close by. Who else?
I can only speak in my era, like the early 80s, right? Mid 80s on up into the 90s, like West Boulevards was probably the closest to us, you know what I'm saying, as far as our relationship, right? But there's also the schoolyards, and we was close with them, but there was also beefs and skirmishes but with both of them. You dig what I'm saying? Like, neighborhoods go through that. It's not always, you know, it ain't like it ain't never no squabbles or nothing, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, in my era, you know, West Boulevard, we used to go down to the West Boulevard hood down to Victoria Park, and we come down there about 15, 20 deep, you know what I'm saying? Looking for the West Boulevards to kick it with them, you know what I'm saying? You know, and at that time, it was a little clique that just started called Young Hustlers. And we went down there and made them turn gear. And some of them turned West Boulevard.
Now, did eventually you share your history with your fellow gears of Gramercy Street and growing up around all these bloods?
When I first started claiming Geer Gang, they asked me where I was from. I was from Gramercy Street Hustlers. That's what I told them, right? And they, who's them? Bloods? I no, they hustlers, right? Now, this is the dynamic in my personal life where, you know, where the shit get kind of fun. But Crippin' ain't trying to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Crippin' ain't trying to hear that when they ride down the street and see that shit on walls, or, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I had a couple of skirmishes. You know, had a couple of skirmishes behind that, not because nothing other than somebody saying they seen me over there, over here, and they would say, I seen that dude in Bloodhood. You see what I'm saying? And so that association, right? Of course, there's going to be some ramifications behind that.
Now, when you have someone like Koolboy who became a Rolling 20s blood, but he still claimed Gramercy Street Hustlers throughout the years, I would say he had a double affiliation, right?
Yes, he did.
And
he had to.
Doesn't it make it seem like the Gramercy Street's leaning towards the blood affiliation?
No.
Because you got someone like Koolboy?
No, because Koolboy wasn't nobody in Gramercy. This is why I want you to interview Big Mike. Koolboy didn't push nothing with Gramercy. He's our little kid. He had that reputation with the Bloods. He didn't have that reputation with us. That's the real talk. We raised Koolboy. So Koolboy is like...
But after you went to prison in '86, Koolboy was out here in '87, '88,
and that's when he became Koolboy that y'all know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Koolboy that played football with us wasn't the Koolboy that the world knew. Neither was the Rocky. You see what I'm saying? That's some '86 on type stuff. I started gangbanging before them. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like they grew into it after I had already went and took my knots and was on my way to prison.
Yeah. Well, most of the Gramercies did not have any affiliation with the Bloods.
It's only a couple of people.
But a couple did have affiliation with the Crips. So.
It's only a couple of them.
Oh.
See what I'm saying? It's only a couple, right? And that's all it takes.
But most of them were just Gramercy.
Most people was just Gramercy.
Like Little Will, just Gramercy.
He's just straight Gramercy.
Babe, just Gramercy.
Straight Gramercy.
Yeah.
Kill, straight Gramercy. All the little dudes that came up under us was just straight Gramercy because that's the path that we pushed, right? We had to resist the Bloods so that they can say this is Gramercy Street Hustler. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just how they work, man. That's just how they work.
So I would think the average Geer Gang Crip that's, you know, a few miles west of here thinks that the Gramercies is probably more blood affiliated, right?
And that's why I wanted to clear that. That's why I made a statement that for the Crips and the Bloods, I'm a Muslim, bro. I don't have a dog in the fight other than this is just some authentic history, bro. Like I say, and and so that everybody can know that this area right here, when I moved over here, bro, it was the Blood neighborhood, but ask the Bloods why it was Crips living over here. Cause you can go talk to the older ones. You can't talk to little CK and B-Mac, and you can't talk to none of the Avenue dudes. You dig what I'm saying about that? You have to go down the hill and talk to Mad Ronald, K-Ray, Crazy B about the dudes who used to be right there on St. Andrews and 18th Street. And confirmed what I'm telling you. You see what I'm saying? It was an arcade on Arlington. I mean, on Washington, right here next to the liquor store. The Crips hung out right there. I remember seeing them pop lock against the 20s. They was pop locking against each other right there. You see what I'm saying? So every time gangs seen each other, they didn't fight. You dig what I'm saying?
Now, do you remember the era, I guess late 70s, early 80s, where around here there was a lot of dancer crews?
Yeah, I was one of them.
Was the Royal Flush a crew?
Yeah, Royal Flush, Romel and Poncho and all them was the Royal Flush. I'm gonna tell you about before Royal Flush, the MDs. the Magnificent Dancers, Lil Sean Breckenridge. You know who Lil Sean is? Lil Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Okay, before Snap, Crackle, and Pop, they was called the MDs. The Magnificent Dancers was on, Sean lived on 18th and Cimarron, okay? The MDs was Sean, a dude named Doris, a dude named Chew, and a dude named Ray, Mr. Wiggles, a worm or something like that. I was a junior MD. Me, Papa, and a dude named Fonzo. We were the junior MDs because I used to pop lock, right? So, you know, yeah, it was dance crews. Yeah, we did everything that little kids did. We break dance, we pop lock, we did all that.
Okay. I think there was, I think my boy Don Taylor was in one of the dance crews.
Don Taylor.
His brother was Bo Taylor from Schoolyard, but Don lived
Bo.
on you didn't know his brother? His brother lived on this side.
I heard that name when you said Don Taylor, so I stopped.
Royal Flush. I think it was Royal
He
Flush.
probably was Royal Flush.
Yeah.
That name sounds familiar. I can't put a face on it.
A lot of the Royal Flush become Bloods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. You know what I'm saying? You know, that the Royal Flush is a couple of years older than me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But yeah, I heard that they had become Bloods at LA High or something, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, but at that time, like I said, I used to pop with Big, you know what I'm saying? And another dude named David, Tall David, you know what I'm saying? You know, it was a couple of little pop locking groups. I used to, you know, we had a little pop locking group called the Stone City Players. You see what I'm saying? And we was just a pop locking group, you know what I'm saying? So it was all kind of dynamics going on around here at that time, man.
So you knew Big before he was a Blood? Was he always big?
He was always big.
Yeah.
I can say that about him too. Mark Thomas was big way back then, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and see, Biggs had a cousin or uncle or older something, or uncle, or older cousin or something like that was from 20s. I think his name was James. You know what I'm saying? But he had a cousin that was an older cousin that was from 20s, so Big already knew he was gonna be from 20s too. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And Big had 15th Street on lock.
Yeah. See, Big is the first one down there, and as far as the little crew, and when I say the little crew, I mean Stan, Kevin, that crew. Big was the first one down there that was Bank Blood, I believe.
Okay. And we're talking about on the east side of Arlington.
Yeah. East of Arlington, north of Venice. Yeah.
All right, so just real brief, just tell me a little bit about your prison experience. What landed you there, and what was that like?
Okay, well, the first time I've been to prison twice, bro. The first time I went to prison, you know, for dope cases. You know what I'm saying? Nothing major. You know, did 3 years. You know, came home. Terms of my parole was I couldn't go on Carlin and Geer. You dig what I'm saying? I couldn't even be in that neighborhood. I couldn't even be around Geer Gang members. So, of course, I'm hanging out over here a lot, right? Now, when I got my hand back into the drug thing, it was over here, right? And I felt like I had a right to be here. You dig what I'm saying? Of course, I took a little arrogance and I took a little liberty with things, you know.
You didn't think that since you decided to become a Geer,
No.
that relinquished
No.
some of your rights over here?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I can see the other side also. You see what I'm saying? Because to me, the 20s and the BlackStone had no claim to Gramercy. You dig what I'm saying?
Maybe before you went to prison, they didn't.
Maybe that's it. Maybe the disconnect is when I left, you know, they was able to occupy the spot, you know what I'm saying? Like I told you, you know, I ain't trying to put no 50 on me, man, but it's like there was some resistance, you see what I'm saying? And the people who would have resisted wasn't around when a lot of stuff happened. That's the bottom line. You know?
And the Bloods were established on one side of Gramercy and on the other side of Gramercy, and probably in their mind, Gramercy is just is in our sights. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it's ours, right?
But see, let me say, when we start serving, what nobody serving from Venice to Adams. Like I told you, we didn't have a spot. We used to walk walk with the pack, man, up and down this street, up, down, 25th, 24th, 23rd, 21st, all around here. We walked around here with the pack before we start getting the money. Then we start getting the money, we start meeting smokers and hey, let me use your room and start serving like that, getting off the block, right? But at that time, bro, wasn't a whole lot of BlackStones out here serving nothing.
Now let me ask you this: during that period you're talking about, was Koolboy serving at that point?
No.
Okay.
No. Rocky wasn't serving at that point. You know what I'm saying? It was me, Mike, Marv, Dre, P-Dub, his cousin Tracy, Danny, you see what I'm saying? Koolboy and Rocky wasn't even in it yet. They wasn't even with the drug thing, selling drugs.
I think Koolboy probably started hustling up here either 87 or 88.
Him and little Ricky ran together.
Yeah.
They're a little few years behind us. And then you gotta understand, Ricky's brother Andy got a sack. You see what I'm saying? So I'm rocking with Lil Rick. And they start big, because when I came home in the early 90s, him and Lil Rick was running like this. I expect as much. You see what I'm saying? They in the same generation. They little niggas, they look good. They out here chasing women. That's what they was doing.
But Koolboy was out here in 88 for sure. Maybe 87.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
He might have been, and I don't know if this is correct or not, maybe someone will know. I think Koolboy would probably be the first official blood on Gramercy serving.
Probably. I would venture to say yes. Yeah, but Koolboy would have been probably the first, you know, actually a 20 that was on the block serving.
Now, when you came back in 90, and saw Gramercy at that time, how did it compare to Carlin?
No comparison. No comparison, bro. It wasn't as violent. You see what I'm saying? And it wasn't as much traffic either. Like Carlin is a small little narrow street. And you know what I'm saying? So like cars get stuck coming down there. It's a different kind of dynamic, you know what I mean? You know, this is kind of a wide block, you know, but I can say I think the years you're talking about, like 87 and 88, was the year where it probably was like you're talking about, where it was a whole lot of traffic out here. Cause I'm getting letters about it, you know what I'm saying, at the time.
One time in 88, the LAPD had this whole, no, they were over in the alley to come raid on Gramercy. They had like 10, 15 cars ready to come down on Gramercy and grab everybody.
I can imagine.
You know, it got pretty active in 87, 88.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about a very famous singer that lived on the street, man. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you know, since I grew up over here, I always knew it. But talk about a famous singer that lived on the block.
Oh, on Gramercy, you must be Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
yeah. I was here the day that we got the news, man. I was actually at Kizzy and Babe and them house.
And they live real,
and they live
much closer.
Yeah. So like I believe we was walking to the store and it came over the radio because everybody's car was playing Marvin Gaye while we was walking down the street. And we literally walked right by the house. I'm familiar with the property, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a sad day, and it was some sad history as well. You know what I'm saying? The way the brother went out. You know what I mean? But we used to sell drugs there, man. We used to sell drugs in the back house. It's a guest house in the backyard.
From what I understand, the father got mad that his son was high on cocaine and shot him.
I don't know. I never got into the details of the story. That's the same story I heard, is that he, got into it with his father and his father shot him. You know what I mean? But, any kind of way, however it transpired, that was a sad day, man. Yeah. That was a sad day. I believe that was April 1st, 1984.
Yeah.
Because we thought it was an April Fool's joke. You know what I mean? Definitely.
All right. Any final thoughts, man? Did we get enough of this history in, you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, I pretty much, covered everything I wanted to say, man. You know what I'm saying? And just to end it off with, juvenile delinquency don't define your life, man. You know what I'm saying? Unless you allow it, and so for everybody that's been through something similar or the same. You know what I mean? You can't let what happened when you were 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old define who you are for the rest of your life, man. I had to make choices for myself as a man and decide that I was gonna stand on my own too, and the only thing I was willing to die for is Allah. You dig what I'm saying? So I became Muslim, man. You know what I mean? And I would say that that Islam is the solution. That's what I would tell them. It's the solution to all this gang violence in the city of Los Angeles. We need to get some kind of meeting going so that we can try and, you know, have an impact, a greater impact on this devastation, man. And I hate that I took part in mine.
When it comes to Islam, who was the of early influence for you that made you convert?
Oh man, that's an interesting story, man. That's an interesting story. The reason why, what my interest in Islam was developed through Malcolm X, like most people. You know what I'm saying? That's what made me take an interest in Islam. It was a long process to Islam, though. You know what I'm saying? Like through Black nationalism, through Moorish Science Temple, to finally arrive at just Orthodox Islam, but taking everything good with me and making it who I am today. So like, there was some influential gang members who became Muslim. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't realize that they be out here active, and when they hit that behind the wall, they find out that their people ain't even pushing that no more. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of was interesting for me to see people who was able to grow up and make a change, and it made it easier for me, you know.
Was this masjid always here when you was a kid?
When I was a kid, I was there when they bought the property.
Now talk about where this masjid is at.
It's in the center of the block. My address was 1625 South St. Andrews, so it's got to be like 1623 or something like that, right? But yeah, they bought that property somewhere around 77, 76, you know, somewhere in that, and it's had a couple of different owners, I believe, since the original community opened it up. But yeah, man, it's they built that. I seen them invest and start remodeling that whole joint. Yeah.
They get a good showing every Friday.
Yeah, you know, and
they have to double park the cars.
I go here every now and then, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm glad it was there because it was the first time I seen Muslims up close. You know what I mean? And my ball used to go over their fence. You know what I'm saying? So I used to fight with them. You know what I mean? They didn't want to give me my ball back. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you before we wrap up. All the stores that are over there right now, they're all different now.
Yeah. It was Safeway. It was Safeway. It was Save-Ons, Pioneer Chicken. It was
JJ Newberry.
JJ Newberry's. It was before Boys. It was Safeway. It was another like National.
No, the Safeway was where the CVS is now.
I don't know where that's. See that building on the corner right there? That was Safeway.
Yeah.
Okay.
That whole supermarket was Safeway. From this corner to where it go into like, that's all. Yeah, that was Safeway. Yeah, that was Safeway. That McDonald's been there. You know what I'm saying? And that street right there, this is the first.
Oh yeah, Pioneer Chicken was in
Pioneer Chicken was in there. You know what I'm saying? Save-Ons, you know what I'm saying? But that street right there is what up now is where we've had our first rumble with the Manhattan Mob.
Okay.
And we used to have to walk to McDonald's. So every time we walk down 18th Street, we got to pass Manhattan, and they would come out from the front of the building and come from the back of the building and be in front and back of us, and we get in the rumbles with them. You know what I'm saying? So that was that was how we started with our little rumbles over here, man. Yeah.
So the Winchell's Donut across the street was always there?
The Winchell's was over there. The Chinese food place was over there.
KK's?
KK's. The MFSB mother, father, sister, brother shoe store was there where I got my Stacey Adams to graduate in 6th grade. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, ZZ, Zyler and Zyler, Z and Z's was on the corner where Wendy's and they turned it into Wendy's or something.
Carl's Jr. there.
Carl's Jr. whatever it is. That used to be Z and Z.
What's Z and Z?
Zyler and Zyler was a clothing store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a clothing store. Yeah. Yeah, man.
So I can imagine as a kid, you spend many a days going to the store over here on Western.
Every time my mom sent me to the store, I had to walk through these things right here. And so when I walked through there, that alley back there, drew boys. Sometimes you walk through there, you know what I mean? We used to play football back there in that alley too, in that big ass parking lot, you know what I'm saying? So we played football everywhere, bro. We played football everywhere, you know what I'm saying? When, yeah, we played football everywhere, man. I had my first girlfriends over here. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I think that that'll wrap it up, man. I appreciate the